Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John back with another video, and today what we're going to be going over is some practical things that you can do in your practicing today to help you master playing in every single key. So let's go on ahead and jump right into it. So I'm going to assume that you already know your number system, that you already know your scales, and you already know your basic major and minor chords, okay? So what is the main issue when it comes to playing in different keys, okay? The thing is that most people are only taught how to play in one key, okay, which is very dangerous because what that does is that it locks your mind into one set of patterns that you have to play through, okay. Only playing in one key is giving you such a small portion of the keyboard to work with, because whenever you're playing in one key, there's certain notes that are outside of that key that you're just not used to playing, okay. And when we're talking about playing an instrument, this is any instrument, whether it's guitar, bass, drums, there is a physical aspect and muscle memory that go into that. So when you train yourself to only play to be able to move between certain chords, what happens is that you get very comfortable playing in that key, and while you may play well in that key, when it's time for you to play in a completely different key, you sound like a completely different musician altogether. If you're playing in a key that you're used to, you may be able to do all kinds of embellishments and things of that nature because of the muscle memory and the visual shape memory that you have for those chords. But then when you move to another key, you can't really transfer any of that stuff because you haven't practiced it. So what I'm going to do in this video is show you guys how you need to practice playing in every single key. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is pick just a very basic chord progression that you already know how to play in a key. Doesn't matter what key, whatever key you're comfortable in, find a chord progression that you're very comfortable playing it in. For sake of example, I'm going to use this example in the key of C. We're going to play a 6-4-1-5, okay? And if at any point in this video what I'm saying sounds a little bit confusing or complicated, all of this has been covered in previous videos: the number system, the major scale, basic, major, and minor chords. So if you guys are not up to date on those videos, please go check them out on the channel. They're up for you guys. But I'm going to go on ahead and continue moving forward. So we're going to take that 6-4-1-5 chord progression in the key of C. I'll play it for you real quick. Okay, so let's say that that's our chord progression we're working with. And let's say that we want to play it in the key of D. Okay, the first thing that you want to do, let's say that D is the key that you're not familiar with. Okay, first thing that you want to do is step one, play the scale, and just kind of go through it, run through it a couple of times. Okay, it doesn't have to take forever, just to get yourself acclimated to what that scale is. Okay, just play through it. Okay, and when you're playing through that, what you're doing is that you're getting your body used to that sequence and pattern of notes. If you notice, every single scale and every single chord that you play has a particular pattern to it. If I take the C scale, the pattern is very, very recognizable. It's all white notes. I'm sorry. Okay, when you go to the key of D, the pattern is slightly altered. There's two peaks within that pattern. So it starts on the D, there's a peak, and there's the last peak. So rather than just being all white note, there's two peaks when you get to the third note and the seventh note. Okay, your brain is going to recognize that as a pattern. And as your brain is recognizing the pattern, your fingers are getting used to the muscle memory of moving between those notes without hitting notes that aren't a part of the scale. Okay, all of this is happening simultaneously. It's not anything that you need to worry about. This is all going to happen naturally for you. I'm just explaining to you the process of how this works. Okay, so go through and practice the scale just a few times. Like I said, it doesn't need to take long. What you're doing is that you are basically setting the groundwork to prepare yourself to play in this key. If you've ever been to an interview before in a part of town that you're not comfortable in, then you normally look it up on the GPS, or you go there a day before, or if it's the same day, you go there a couple of hours before, just to drive around, look at the area, see what's there in case you get caught in traffic, in case there's emergency, so you're not late. Okay, whenever you're preparing to learn a new key, Just run through the scale a couple of times. And what that's going to do is you're going to get a layout of what is possible within that scale, not to mention the notes that are comprised of that scale. It's getting you used to the pattern mentally, and it's also getting you used to it physically with muscle memory. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, now that we are acclimated to the scale, we know what scale we're going to be working in today, then we just take those same chords and put them in this key. Now, in order for you to do this, you do need to know your number system. Okay, understanding that chords 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is diminished. You need to know that. And of course, you need to understand how to build basic triads, or at this point, you should already have them memorized, your basic, major, and minor triads. So I'm not going to go into detail on how to build those, but what I will do is just go on ahead and go through the chord progression in the key of D. So remember, it was a 6, 4, 1, 5. I know that my sixth scale degree in the key of D is going to be B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. 6, 4, 1, 5. Basic triads. Now, once you go through and you play those basic triads, what you can then do, now that you've gotten comfortable with playing in that key, is start to play around with some different variations of the chords, play around with some different scales and stuff like that, or different notes within the scale, I should say. And then you're going to begin to become comfortable within that key. Repeat this process for every single key that you're not comfortable with, okay? And you want to do it in that order. You first want to start by just going through and practicing the scale. Second step is to go through and just play through the chord progression until your mind starts to get those shapes and those patterns locked in. If you notice, in the key of C, all I was playing was white notes. So those patterns are very, very, very simple. When you get into more difficult keys, the patterns are going to be different, because just by looking here with this B minor chord, look at this shape. And then you have this shape, and then you're going to this shape, and then this shape. Both of these shapes are the same, but essentially in this chord progression, we have three different shapes that we have to work with. Then we have this one, which I like to call an upside down flag, because there's the pole here, and then the flag will be boxed around those two white notes. And then you have your standard all white note voicing. And then you have what I like to call your house voicing, because here's the sides and it all leads into a point. So I would like to call those little house chords. Okay. These are all little names that I put to these chords, but it's just so I can recognize the pattern. So now that you understand the way that I'm thinking about these patterns, you can see that in the key of C, everything is pretty much the same. It's all white notes. So essentially, I don't have to change my hand shape. I don't have to change the shape of my hand, is what I'm talking about. When I go to the key of D, I have to adjust my hand positioning to play these chords, and that's the key. The reason why you can't play in other keys, or it seems difficult, is because you're not used to playing those different patterns. When you get into keys like B flat, A flat, E flat, those chords are very, very different as far as your hand positioning is concerned. You're still playing the same type of chord. You're still playing the same chords as 6, 4, 1, 5. But when you're playing other keys, it's going to be difficult if your hands aren't used to playing those chords, okay? So that's what you want to do. Play the scale, then play through those chords so that your hands can get acclimated to playing. Once you're done doing that and you feel comfortable and you think that you can do a little bit more in that key, we're going to go back to the key of D. What you can do, like I said, is start adding some embellishments. So one thing that I like to do is there's a certain way that I like to practice my scale sometimes. You know, normally you would practice your scale the normal way like this. But I found that when I'm improvising and I'm playing and I'm trying to create a mood, sometimes what I'll do is that I'll play the scale with two hands, but in one of my hands, I'm actually starting on a different note. So here's the thing. I'm not doing anything. I'm not learning a new concept. The only thing that I'm doing is playing the D scale in both hands, except I'm starting on a different note with my other hand. So essentially with my left hand, I'm doing the D scale. And then in my right hand, I'm doing the D scale, but I'm starting on F sharp. So still all the same notes, nothing changes. Okay? And what I'll do is play them at the same time. And you see how it kind of adds that nice harmony to what it is that you're doing. So when I'm playing, I'll implement that when I'm playing my chords. Okay, so that's one thing that you guys can do. That's just a little trick that I like to do. I've now been recently doing them sixths apart. So basically what that means is that if this would be considered a major third, so technically I'm just playing the scale major thirds apart. Okay, one thing that I find that's really great for creating a mood, especially when you're in worship, is to do it in sixths. So if I count up from the first scale degree to the sixth, of course, in the key of D, you're going to get B. And so what I would do is that same concept, but just spread out like this. Those are different little things that don't require you to learn any new scales. It doesn't require you to learn any new techniques. All you're doing is applying what you know. Even if you know just one scale, just simply playing the scale with both hands, but starting on different notes, can open you up to so many different sounds, and once you are acclimated to that key, you can move to the next key and you can start playing and doing different things here and there. But I wanted to share these different concepts with you guys because I know that it's very important that you guys have practical things that you can put into your playing today. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, how do I play in every single key? What's the next step that I need to learn? These are some of the things that you need to work on in order for it to become much easier for you to play in other keys. I am going to start doing some more videos like this, giving you guys some tips and tricks on things that I do when I play. Now, even though I'm showing you on piano, the same thing can be said for guitar, bass, any other instrument, okay? It's all the same concept. And another good important thing that you need to do is start training your ear when it comes to hearing different chords and different inversions and stuff like that. I'll get into that into another video, but it does go a lot in line with playing in multiple keys and getting comfortable playing in multiple keys, because when you're able to hear certain things, it makes it so much easier for you to visualize it in your mind what the chords are. If you can hear them and visualize what chords they're supposed to be, by the time you get to the piano, you've already done the mental training in order to be ready to perform. Okay, but there's going to be definitely some videos coming out soon with ear training. I think it might actually be my next video. I think I'm going to work on that for you guys because I know you've been wanting it. I'm really excited to do it. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys are going to be excited for to happen next. If this video was helpful to you, go on ahead and like, share, comment down below. Let me know if you need any help with anything or any other video suggestions. But until the next time, you guys have a good one.